I really feel like I got violated. They were my sisters. I still went to school with this girl who broke into my house, who fought me once, who set me up another time. Still in this school with this girl. I felt like so weak. Like, it made me feel so powerless. Like, every day after school coming home didn't feel like I was coming home anymore. I'm Ornella, and I'm 20 years old. When I was a freshman, my best friends broke into my house. I've always been like the outsider. I've always been like the best friend, the one that you go to when you want to, tell your secrets and you know that it's not going to get repeated. The consoler. I've always been like a good friend, but I'm the outsider, the one that's just not as close as everybody else in the group. A lot of people rely on me. It's not that I cannot rely on my friends. I just don't ever feel the need to rely on my friends. I feel like I'm a very independent person. I don't feel bad that my friends aren't as in my life as I may be in theirs, because that's like a choice that I make by holding some stuff back or holding some parts of me back. I had like these 5 girlfriends. I met them like in middle school. Come high school, we got to be very close. In our group, there was this one girl. I feel like in every friend group, there's always that one, like, either that bossy friend, that one friend who is the head of the group, or like that thinks she's the head of the group. Brittany is like the head leader of the group. So kind of was like a little mean girls. We were mean girls, to be honest. Her man, well, it wasn't even her man, but she talked to this boy at the time. And she introduced me to him one day. We were just like at their place kicking it. And that boy, literally, like, we were walking out the door. She was in front of me. She walked out first, said bye to him. I walk out second, and he like pulls me aside, and he's like asking me for my number or whatever. And I'm like, aren't you like my friend's dude? Like, and he's like, I'm not her man. Like, like that's just my friend. Blah blah blah. Long story short, I was like, if you want my stuff, you can find it, and I left. So he found it. And I guess me and her had like posted a picture or whatever, and he found my @ or whatever. He followed me and stuff like that. And he was like trying to get at me. I told my other friend, Vanessa. I still don't know how Brittany found out, but I'm assuming that Vanessa told her. She found out that like her man liked me. Ever since she found that out, she like made it her goal to like make my life like a living hell. And to be honest, from like freshman year to like sophomore year, like maybe into like junior year, she achieved that. Like, she gave me hell. Like, I remember one day we were like walking down the hallway at school, and she mumbled under her voice. She was like, I'm gonna ruin your life. Like, under her voice, like she was like, I'm gonna make your life I don't know what she said, but like we were crossing each other, and she like said that to me, and I was just like, what the fuck did I do? Like, what did I do? So basically, these were my best friends, right? It was spring break, and I remember I was leaving to go to Louisiana for spring break to visit my godparents down there. And so naturally, I told my best friends, I was like, I'm leaving during spring break, because they were asking me, like, what do you guys want to do? What should we get into? And I was like, I'm not gonna be here. I'm leaving, I'm going down south. They asked me for the key to my house, which was the first sign, like the most obvious thing. Like, why would you ask me for the key to my house while I'm leaving to go to vacation? So they asked me for the key to my house, and I told them no. And I was like, if it was up to me, like maybe, but this is my dad's house. Like, I don't feel comfortable giving you guys the key to my house. And they just was like, we're not gonna do anything. Like, we just wanna, party, maybe invite some people over, just kick it to have a free crib during, spring break. Like, we're gonna keep everything like clean. We're not gonna. I was like, that's not the problem. Isn't to keep the house clean. The problem is that this is my dad's house. Like, I can't just give you guys the key to my house. You know what I mean? And so I told him no. To be honest, it was a very brief conversation. It was like 5 minutes, and I told them no, and they didn't press it, and I thought that they let it go. So before I left, I I remembered that they had asked me for the key to my house, and I knew, like, this is bad to say, but I knew how my friends, you know, are, and I just, you know, took extra precaution, and I made sure that I locked everything. They knew that I didn't even typically lock my house door. Like, my crib was always a crib that, like, my girls came to, like, every weekend. They would just come over, I would invite them over, and my dad would be in the house, but my dad knew that I always had my friends over on the weekends, so he would just stay in his room, and we always had, like, the living room and the basement to ourselves. So the door was always unlocked, they always came over, you know. Sometimes they would come over and my dad would be upstairs, we would even sneak out. Like, my house was the house. They were very accustomed to my house. They knew how to get in there. They knew I had a basement. I viewed them as like family. They were my sisters. Remembering that they asked me for the key to my house and remembering the type of people that they are, I locked my house door. I even went so far as to lock my bedroom door. And I don't ever lock my bedroom door, but I just had a gut feeling. I was like, I know these girls, like, I know how they are. They're gonna try something. My thought was like, you know, had I had the door open, they would just get in, chill, you know, whatever, get out. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna lock the door and they're gonna see like they can't get in and they're just gonna leave. I had that gut feeling because like I knew my friends, like I knew they were gonna try something. Even though I told them no, I thought that they were still gonna try to come into my house. Just to chill though. Not what I'm about to go into, but just to chill. I lock the basement door, we leave. We go to Louisiana and we're there for a week. I come back, my dad pulls into the driveway. He goes to open the front door. And I guess he thought he left the front door open because like I said, we usually would leave the front door open, which is not safe. I don't do that. So I guess he thought he left the front door open and it was locked. And I told him, I was like, no, I locked the door. So he was like, I didn't bring my key. And I was like, well, try to like open it from the back. So he goes to the basement and he tries to open the basement and he sees that his bedroom light was on. The basement light was on and the basement door was cracked. So we had a glass door, you know, a glass sliding door. The basement door was like cracked and there was a pot on the grass in front of the cracked bedroom door. Like somebody took the pot and smashed it into the glass door and tried to, you know, slide the door. So he's thinking that a robbery just happened because the lights are still on. So he's like, this must have just happened. Like people must still be in there. So naturally, like he comes to the front, he tells me and my sister to stay in the car and he calls the police. So the police come, they go to the back and they see the basement door cracked. They see the lights on, they go inside, they search everything in the house. They make sure that nobody's in the house still. And they're like, okay, well, it's clear, there's nobody in here, but you know, we're not sure if this is how you left it. And he's like, okay. He's like, we just need you to go in there and see if there's any missing items so we can see if this is a robbery or not. And so we go in the house and the house is trashed. Like me and my dad, we walk in through the basement first and we see like there was a hole in the basement wall. It was like a punch size hole, but there was a hammer on the floor. So I don't know if somebody got drunk and like punched a hole in the wall or if someone took a hammer and punched the hole in the wall because there was a hammer on the floor. So it was like a hole in the wall, furniture and clothing like everywhere, like tossed around. The sliding glass door was completely shattered and broken. We walk upstairs to the kitchen. There's like wrappers, like at the time people were smoking like out of Dutches. So there was like Dutch wrappers on the floor, like somebody had just smoked in there. My dad's wine glasses and liquor bottles and stuff was all out on the table. There was like used glasses on the table. I had a hamster, like they let my hamster out of his cage. Well, actually like a month later, we heard him squeaking, like running around squeaking in the basement, but we couldn't find him. Like we were just hearing like squeaking and we just never ended up finding him. We go in the living room and like the TV's on the floor. Like the TV's on the floor as if they were trying to like unhook it or something and like take it with them. The TV's on the floor. You know, the furniture was like rearranged. We go upstairs. I told you guys I locked it. So, wait, I'm like, oh my God, I don't even want to talk about this. No,
over now, and now you're talking about it.
Right.
You know.
Wait, I can't mess my makeup up. Okay. Okay. Um. Don't put this in here. Right. It's hard as for me to cry.
It's hard to talk about because like when you get robbed, you feel like they didn't just rob like the physical things. It's like they just invaded you.
Yeah.
Instead.
Yeah. Yeah. I really feel like I got violated. I remember specifically locking my bedroom door. I came back to my bedroom door cracked, like somebody tried to kick it in. The door was like broken. My clothes was all over my bedroom floor. I have 3 guitars. My guitars were on the floor. One of them was like smashed. Like I don't really remember what happened in my sister's room. My dad's room, they broke his laptop. I don't even know what their aim was. Like, I guess they were like looking for valuable stuff, but we don't really keep valuable stuff in our house. Like even to this day, my dad doesn't really keep things like of value in the house, you know. All his money's like in the bank or his cash is on him. So I guess they were looking for stuff, but they didn't find it. So my house is just a mess. There wasn't really much missing, I don't think. So we told the cops. I didn't say anything to the cops about them having asked for my key because, to be honest, a week had went by and I forgot that they even asked for the key to the house. And plus, they were my best friends. So when I walked inside and I saw the extent of what happened, I was like, this couldn't be them. Like, you know, why would they come and do this in my house? Like, if anything, like, this couldn't be them. This actually had to be like a robber. So I didn't tell the cops anything about them asking me because I didn't want to get anybody in trouble. So as soon as I found out what happened, I texted Brittany and I was like, oh my God, I think I got robbed. And she was like, what? What happened? Like, are you okay? Is everything okay? And I was like, yeah, like, I just got back from Louisiana and my house is a mess. Like, it looks like they was looking for stuff. There's like stuff all out, you know, holes in the wall. And she was like, that's so crazy. I'm so sorry. I'm here for you. Like, you can talk to me. Like, that is wild. Like, what were they doing? Like, do you know who it could be? Like, really consoling me. Like, she actually consoled me through it. Like, I felt like I could actually talk to her about it. For like 3 weeks, I didn't know who it was. My house being broken into, it made me feel so weak. Like, it made me feel so powerless. Like, every day after school coming home didn't feel like I was coming home anymore. Coming home every day did not feel like home anymore. I felt like invaded. Like, I felt like my home felt dirty. Like, I remember specifically not knowing who had been in it, not knowing what had happened, coming home to like everything just everywhere, and the way that it looked, it just felt dirty. Like, even after we cleaned it, I just felt like I felt like so unsafe. Like, I don't even know how to describe the feeling. Like, I just, so like, weeks went by and I didn't know what happened. I didn't know who it was. It just kind of got like brushed to the side until one day my friend Dominique, she asked me, she was like, hey, did you ever figure out what happened to your house? And I was like, no, I didn't. And I told her how, Brittany and them had asked me for the key to my house before I left. And I just thought that was odd. I didn't like put 2 and 2 together, but I just told her that how I thought that was odd. And she was like, oh, you know what's funny is I think when you left, they did have like a little get together or something. I remember them like inviting me to like a little get together or something, but I didn't end up going. And this was in front of my other best friend. Her name was Aisha. So Aisha's like, yeah, they did end up like, they did go somewhere or like have something. And I'm like, word, that's crazy. That's like, word, that's crazy. What was that? She's like, and you know what else, Aisha, she's like, you know what else is weird? She's like, Hillary did like send me a picture with her boyfriend, and they were like, I guess they were like, they were out somewhere in a house or something, but she told me after she sent me the picture, she was like, wait, no, delete that picture. And she was like, I just kept the picture, just for whatever reason, I just kept the picture, because why? She's never ever asked me to delete a picture before or anything that she sent me. So I just kept the picture just because. And I'm like, word? I'm like, oh, word, that's dead funny. I was like, let me see the picture. So she this is like when Kik was a thing. So she like shows me the picture, it was on Kik, and I like look at the picture, and I'm like looking at the picture, and it's them two, and they're like standing in front of my dad's plaque. Like my dad's plaque was like by the stairwell, and you clearly see his plaque, and we had a red vacuum by the stairwell. You clearly see a red vacuum by the side of the stairwell. And so us three, our mouths dropped. And Aisha's been in my house before, and I'm like, look, like, this is my dad's plaque, this is my vacuum. And she like zooms in, and she's like, what? Like, we're all just three just dumbfounded. She's like, so what are you gonna do? I think I texted Brittany. I don't know if I texted her, or we got into a confrontation, and we're just arguing. She's like denying it or whatever, and I'm just like, you're trifling. Like, you're trifling. Like, who does that? Like, who breaks into their best friend's house? Like, you're trifling. So I know it. I don't know if I texted her first, but I know this ended up on Twitter. So the next day when I came to school, everybody was already aware what happened. Everybody was already aware that we got into that big ass argument. Mind you, we were best friends, so we sat at the same lunch table. So the very next day I go to school, I do my due, I sit at the lunch table, my friends are around me, Damo is next to me. She's like, if she comes to you, if she says anything to you, ignore her, don't entertain it, like, don't fight her, like, leave it alone, just chill. And she comes to the lunch table, and she places her plate down, and she walks up to me, and I'm sitting down, and she's standing up, and she hovers over me, and she's like, so what was that you were saying on Twitter? Da 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 da. And I'm like, and I like look up at her, and I'm like, you're trifling, like, bitch, you broke into my house, like, da 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 da. So we start arguing, and I think she was basically like antagonizing me to like touch her, like basically like touch me, like, and so what, like fight me, da da da. So I get up, and like Dom was like trying to like hold me back. So I get up, and like when I fight, I kind of like black out. So I think I punched. Everybody told me I like punched her first, or like slapped her or whatever. So I think I punched her, and we got into like a little 15 seconds fight. Like, she grabbed me by my hair, and she like was hitting the back of my neck. Like, yeah, it was like really, really quick. And all I remember is like the administration like pulling me from her and somebody else pulling her. So then we go to the office, and I was always cool with everybody. So they didn't like write me up or anything, but they wrote her up. And basically, even though I hit her first, I think her parents was like, but she hit her first, da da da. They checked the cameras, and they said like, you can clearly see like you was antagonizing her, like you was all in her face. You came up to the table and you started the fight. So you antagonized her whether she touched you first or not. So they wrote her up or whatever. She was like a problem child. Like, she always got in trouble. So this was not her first time like being in a fight or, having some like disciplinary action at school. So I think this fight between us, I think I remember them telling her like, if you get another fight, we're gonna send you to the alternative school. Okay. So because she couldn't get in another fight with me, she set me up to fight this girl. She came up with this master plan. This probably was like maybe like 2-3 weeks after we got into our fight. I'm at school. It's like 2:30 p.m. and we get off at 3. 2:30 comes, and when you're a senior or whatever, you don't you don't have to have a full schedule anymore. Like you can get let off early, or you can like be like a helper or whatever. So there was this girl, Rayshawn, and she was like a mutual friend of me and Aisha's, but I always felt like she had like some animosity towards me for whatever reason. I always felt that like angst from her for whatever reason. And come to find, I always felt like Aisha probably like told her some things, because Aisha didn't listen. Bitches was mad jealous of me, like for whatever. Bitches was mad jealous, and I don't know why, because me and Aisha, we were actually friends. Our family knew each other, so we were like friends. But at a point, when Brittany turned on me, they all kind of turned on me. So when they turned on me, Aisha kind of turned on me too. I didn't care, but Brittany made it so like you couldn't be both of our friends. Like if you was both of our friends, it was a problem. She almost made them like choose sides. So because she was like, the more powerful one or whatever, they like chose her side over me, which I ain't tripping, because I bossed up on all them bitches and they all want to be my friends now. 2:30 hits, and Rayshawn, she's a senior, so she's like a helper, like an office helper now. So she comes to my class and she gives the teacher a note. She's like, hey, a note from the office, they want to see Ornella. And I'm like, okay, bet. It's 2:30, so I grab all my stuff, because I'm like, by the time I go to the office, by the time I talk to the principal or whatever, it'll be 3 o'clock, it'll be time to go. So I grab all my stuff. I grab my jacket, I grab my books, my binders, and my backpack. I walk out and I follow Rayshawn. Rayshawn stops and goes into the bathroom. And because I'm following her and I'm not thinking of anything, I just follow her into the bathroom. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna wait for her to use the bathroom. I walk into the bathroom and there is like 6 or 7 girls in there that do not like me. It's like, I remember this day like it just happened, like it happened yesterday. Like I walk into the bathroom and I see face by face by face by face by face. Don't like. None of them bitches like me. And in front of all of them was this girl, Emily. And, I walk in the bathroom, Rayshawn, she kind of goes in the cut. Bitches in the back, they got their phone out already ready to record it. Brittany is in the stall laughing. So I already knew off jump what this was. So I'm just like, what? So Emily, she's like, oh, so you was talking shit about me? Mind you, me and Emily used to be cool. Like, why would I be talking about you? She's like, I walk in the stall, she's like, so you was talking shit about me? And I'm like, what is you talking about? And she was like, Brittany told me that you was talking shit about me. Brittany told me that you said such and such and such. And I was like, I dead looked at her in her eye and I was like, you sound dumb. I was like, you sound dumb right now. I was like, you realize me and Brittany haven't been friends since she broke into my house? Like, do you think that of anybody, I would be talking shit about you to Brittany? So she kind of just stood there for like 5 seconds. I remember she kind of just stood there, like, because she put it together and she realized. But when girls are in front of other girls, they like to make scenes. So it was kind of too late for her to back out and be like, oh, you right, you couldn't have been talking shit about me. You don't even f with Brittany. You know what I mean? So she's there for like 10 seconds and I see her face change and I'm like, okay, maybe she like is, thinking about it. Nope. All I remember next is like a punch to my eye. Like, I have never been punched dead in my eye until that day. And before I could even react, mind you, I told you I came out of class with binders in my hand, books in my hand, my jacket, my backpack. I had all this stuff. Like, I was not ready to fight. So she punches me, and before I'm even ready to do anything, I'm like on the floor. Like, she's punching me, repeat. Like, she's like grabbing me by my hair, kneeing me in my face, like kicking me, punching me. This went on for like 5 minutes. All of them in the bathroom just recording. So she was kneeing me, and I think she like kicked me like once or twice, and then when Rayshawn saw that she was about to start kicking me, then she wanted to break it up. And she was like, stop, 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 stop. And when she like stopped it, all the other girls, they ran out the bathroom. I get up and I look at Rayshawn and I'm like, what the f-? She like looks at my face and she like puts her hand over her mouth, I think, or something like that. Cause I hadn't looked in the mirror yet, so I didn't know how bad it was. You know, when you get in a fight, like the adrenaline, like it's just all adrenaline, so you don't even realize. Like when I was on the floor and stuff, like I didn't feel none of the hits. I didn't like feel anything. I was more so like, I remember I was just like putting my hand over my head, like my face, cause she kept like punching me and like kneeing me. So when she got the knee in me and I was on the floor, I'm just doing this. Like I done dropped everything and I'm just trying to cover myself because she's like really going for it. And so I get up and I look in the mirror now and my eye, like a blood vessel popped. I think it was like my right eye. Like my eye is red and swollen. My hair is just like f***ed up. Like I have scratches all over my face. And she's just like mouth, like no words. She's like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, what was the point of this? Like, why would you bring me in here? Like, you know they don't like me. And she's like, I had no idea. So apparently what they told her was, we knew we were supposed to fight each other. You know, they're beefing. Your job is just to go in the classroom and get her out. She knows her and Emily are supposed to fight. So she said she didn't know, that I had no idea. She like walks me to the health room. And it probably was like 3 o'clock by this time. So we like get to the health room and I tell her what happened. And it's 3, so school is out already, or it's 2:30, so school is out already. And the girls already had went home, you know, so it wasn't much that they can do. The nurse, you know, gave me ice, cleaned me up or whatever, sent me to the principal's office. I told the principal what happened. My dad comes to pick me up. He was already aware that like these girls didn't like me because we got into that previous fight. And I think I had told him by now that like the girls are the ones that broke into my house. I think their like agenda was to get into my house to like throw a little get together or whatever, and it just went like haywire. I don't think it was them that did all that wild stuff. I think it was probably the guys that they brought over or that they were with that probably got like really drunk and like just everything up. I don't think that it was like them. When we like were cordial or whatever, she told me that she really has no idea how my house ended up like that. She said that they did end up leaving. They don't know if somebody came back because like they knew, you know, like the location or whatever. So she told me that like they weren't aware that like my house was like in the state that it was. So my dad picks me up and he takes me home. I was holding it in the entire time, but when I got home, you know, my sister and I, we're really close. So like when she gets home or I get home, you know, we're just like ready to see each other. So like when I got home, I think I was like walking up the steps and she was in the living room and she was saying something like, girl, what were you out doing? Like, why are you home this late? Or like, where are you coming from? Or something like that. Like saying something funny. And I like walk up the step and like she sees my face and her mouth just like, her face expression changes. Like she doesn't even finish like laughing or saying whatever she was about to say. And she's like, what happened? And I just started laughing. Like I started laughing and I started bawling. Like I tried to keep it in and I just couldn't anymore. Like I don't even cry like that, but that cry was like the longest cry of my life. Like I remember bawling, like, and she was just holding me and I was just crying in her arms. Like she was like tapping my back like it's okay, like it's gonna be okay. And I was just bawling and I was like, I don't know why they hate me so much. Like, why do they hate me so much? Like, why do they keep doing this to me? Like, what did I do? Like, I don't even want to be here anymore. Like, I was just distraught. I feel like I grew up laughing to like suppress a lot of stuff. I don't know. I just don't like laughing. I don't like laughing. I think I just do it too much. I have chubby cheeks, so like when I laugh, my cheeks are just so big, and I don't like the way they look. They couldn't even kick Brittany out of school or send her to an alternative school or anything like that because, like I said, she knew that if she was to fight me again, they were gonna kick her out. So she orchestrated this that way so she wouldn't be in trouble for anything because she's not the one that hit me. She's not the one that punched me. You know, she was just in the bathroom. She was just an observer. So they couldn't do anything to her. I still went to school with this girl who broke into my house, who fought me once, who set me up another time. Like, still in this school with this girl. And imagine me just, I felt so powerless. Like, I felt like so powerless compared to her. I felt like this girl is untouchable. Like, this girl is literally untouchable. Like, she broke into my goddamn house. And the girl who fought me is at a different school and she's still here. I felt powerless. And so I guess that has a lot to do with why I'm so distant as a friend now. I don't know, because like I said, these were my sisters at a point. Like, I really consider them my sisters. So for them to have like done this to me, that's when you're just learning to trust people. When you're like 15. I don't want to keep hearing from my friends that I'm distant. I don't want to keep hearing my friends tell me, oh, I don't text you because you don't reply. Or I don't talk to you because I can barely get a hold of you. Or like, I don't like hearing that because like, I'm a good friend. Like, I'm a good friend and I'm a genuine person. But I mean, I show people that I care about them through the things that I do. I'm not the type of person that feels like I need to talk to you every single day or like need to see you all the time, you know? Like, I feel like me texting you every once in a while and checking up and seeing how are you doing, like how was school, like how did that surgery go, like little small stuff. Like, you'll tell me something so small and it's insignificant, but I will text you and I'll check up on it. I like making sure my friends are good. Even growing up, when she like reached out to me and apologized and, you know, wanted to be friends or cordial at least with me again, I forgave her. Like, we went to New York together, and like I tell people the story and I tell them how we're like cool now, and they're like, how? Like, how could you ever, you know, forgive someone who did that to you or like be friends with someone? They can't even wrap their head around how I like. And to be honest, like, at the time, I wasn't even that mad at her. At the time, I didn't even care that it happened. I was like, bro, just get over it. Like, stop being mad. Like, I didn't hate her. Like, I was like, you know what? She's probably going through stuff. Because I know I was going through stuff. And I was like, she's probably insecure. She puts up this front like everything is okay. But I knew that it couldn't have been. Because you would never treat anybody like this if everything was okay with you. There's no one in my life that's done anything to me and I haven't forgiven them. As wild as that sounds, there's nobody that I haven't forgiven. I think that's how I'm able to be such a good friend to people. I think that's how I'm able to be such a nice person. Like, treat others the way you want to be treated. As simple as that sounds, that's a concept that nobody, like, people don't seem to understand. Like, I treat everyone how I want to be treated. No more, no less. Like, I literally reciprocate the energy that you give me. I start off every friendship, every relationship. I started off good. I started off genuine. If you want to deter it, if you want to play me, if you want to do whatever, I just reciprocate that energy. But I'm not out here on no spiteful. You speaking about how you got robbed, analyzing it, saying how like at first you didn't even realize how bad it was until years later you're not able to trust people, you're looking over your shoulder and it was like in broad daylight and trauma. So I was like, wait, I think I have some trauma. Like, I don't feel like I can trust a lot of people. I don't, you know, I look over my shoulder all the time. I resonated with you. I gotta speak my truth, you know. I wanted to be on the Nexus because I feel it's important to talk about mental health, especially in a society where a lot of us are going through some things that we may not even be able to understand, and we don't know where the issues are stemming from. It's important to share your story. That way, so someone else that has went through something similar can realize that, oh, maybe that's why I act like that, or maybe that's what happened to me that makes me feel this way or think this way or act this way. I self-analyze a lot, so part of my self-analyzation, I need to know why something occurred or why something happened. You don't get any answers without posing the question why. Once you have the answer to something, you work on getting the results that you want, but now you have the answer to be able to get the result. It's just we don't always have the power, we don't always have the ability to change our circumstances or other people's circumstances. The nexus to me is letting things out. Speaking right now, I'm not really talking to anyone, so I'm gonna feel like I can say more than what I would be able to say if I was talking to like my friend. It feels like I'm talking to myself, so I don't feel judged. I talk to myself. I talk and answer myself. If I don't talk to myself, who's gonna talk to me?